It didn't, I mean, it's a short story, so it definitely didn't waste any time to like jump into the action, so to speak. Oh, I didn't think that through. Oh, wording. This is Megan, and this is Restricted Section, After Dark. For those of you who don't already know what this is, in this segment I review short stories from this gem, Hotter Blood, which is edited by Jeff Gelb and Michael Garrett, and it is a collection of horror erotica short stories, which is exactly as delightful as it sounds. So, keep in mind that these are erotica tales, and so some of this content is probably not safe for everyone. So today's delightful selection is A Hard Man is Good to Find by R. Patrick Gates. So in this story, it tells the tale of a woman who is in search of the perfect orgasm and has been unable to find it. So she ends up, while at lunch with her friend, seeing this construction worker and hooking up with him. And she spends, you know, a week of rampant cocaine and sex with this gentleman, and he, in somewhere in the middle of that, dies. Which she doesn't realize until she wakes up from, you know, a night of delightful, perfect orgasm sex to find a cockroach on his penis. A cockroach on his penis. And she discovers that she has been having sex with a corpse for about 2 or 3 days. But she learns that this is how she achieves her perfect orgasm. It can only be with dead penises. So she then continues on this trend. She finds men who want to sleep with her and then just kills them and continues to have sex with their dead bodies. Necrophilia. So I have a scale. For the erotica factor, I have a bone scale, and for the scary factor, I have a skull scale. So for this particular tale, I would say it was more gross than scary, but you know, fucking dead dudes is pretty weird. So I'm gonna give it two skulls. There's some fairly risque stuff in here, so I think I'm gonna give it 2 bones. Because for this collection it's pretty risque, but I mean, I feel like it's still kind of like erotica light. I'm sure that if you're just reading straight erotica, there's gonna be a lot more descriptive and erotic parts. So I give it 2 out of 5 bones. So yeah, this story was probably about as ridiculous as some of the other ones I've read in here, but not the most ridiculous one I've read. And of course the writing, for this collection, the writing wasn't terrible. For like literature on the whole, it's pretty bad, but like for this particular collection, it is probably one of the better written ones. That's not saying a ton. And the story begins with the sentence, "She was wet again." I'm gonna let you figure out where and how the wetness occurred. But yeah, so overall it was fairly disgusting, but also fairly entertaining. So I will read you some excerpts from this classic tale of horror so that you can see for yourself. When was the last time you really, really got laid? I mean, laid until you cummed your brains out and collapsed, Lisa asked Darlene, never taking her eyes from the jiggling muscle outside the restaurant window. I only had, you know, sex like that once, I guess, Darlene said softly, self-consciously. It was on the night of my senior prom in a vibrating bed at the Dewdrop Inn. A bunch of us rented a whole slew of rooms for a party. I don't know about you guys, but like when I think about high school prom nights, I don't really like think about, you know, world rockin' orgasms in a vibrating bed, but I don't know. Maybe, I mean, maybe people have had different experiences. I don't know. The next time she woke, it was daylight, and she was dying of thirst, lying upside down in bed, her face only inches from Rod's testicles. They were shriveled and blue, but the rest of the organ was still hard and raging, though it was now a deep purple color. It had something on it. Lisa blinked her eyes and tried to focus. The something began to move. It was a cockroach. The pun eluded her as, just for a second, she saw the bug in perfect detail. Cockroach on his penis. Lisa hung up and went back to the bedroom. From what Darlene said, Lee knew it had been at least a week since she had first shacked up with Rod. She wasn't absolutely sure when he had died, but she had a good idea it was Saturday night, because from the look of him, he was at least a couple days overripe. Oh. She did some calculating and figured she'd been screwing a corpse for at least 3 days before it had begun to attract bugs. She gave a shiver of disgust at the thought of a roach, but not at what she had done. When the cleaning lady finally saw the Do Not Disturb sign taken from the door of the room the next day, she entered and found Dr. Ruddles dead. He was naked and bound to the bed with nylons. An empty syringe was sticking out of his arm. His decomposing member was still erect, and an eternal smile was etched on his face. So there you have it. Woman discovers that dead penises do it for her and goes and gets another one. So, a hard man is good to find. Probably because of rigor mortis. So that's going to be it for me today. Let me know what you thought of that delightful tale. And as always, there'll be some links down below where you can find Sue and I elsewhere on social media, if you are so inclined. If you're not already subscribed to the restricted section and I haven't scared you off with my dead penis story, then go ahead and click subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.